Welcome to Women's Rugby Rundown 233 for February 9th through the 15th. This week we are celebrating a massive milestone for Argentina as they claim the Sevens 2 title in Nairobi and move to the top of the international standings. We also have a big update on the 2026 Pacific 4 Series, which is set to bring world-class rugby to Sacramento, Kansas City, and Chicago before a historic finale on Australia's Sunshine Coast. Domestically, we saw league titles clinch in Hong Kong and a record-breaking opening weekend in South Africa. Plus, we are gaining serious momentum on our 20th anniversary 10K march as we close in on our first big gear drop. I'm Wendy, back from London and ready to bring you the next round of Women's Rugby news. This is your Women's Rugby Rundown, and we're about to kick off. Our 10K march is gaining incredible momentum as we are close to a milestone to unlock our first exclusive gear drop from Bushi. You can help us smash through this finish line by following both YSC Rugby and Bushi on Instagram or TikTok and tagging your club in the comments of our pinned anniversary post. Now let's get into Sevens news. Argentina is the talk of the town after securing the Sevens 2 tournament title in Nairobi. It was a weekend of pure drama that ended with a golden point loss to South Africa in the final, but Argentina did enough to walk away with the 20 league points and the top spot. Sofia Gonzalez was the standout star, earning player of the tournament honors for her clinical play. As it stands, Argentina leads the pack, followed closely by South Africa and Spain, with the series now shifting over to South America for the Montevideo leg on March 21st and 22nd. In international 15s news, the race for the Celtic Challenge title is narrowing as the Wolfhounds maintain their perfect record this weekend. They put on a clinical 6-try performance against Glasgow to keep a firm grip on first place. Meanwhile, the Clovers held on to their second place spot with a gritty 19-14 win over Gwalia, and Brighton kept their playoff hopes alive by taking down Edinburgh. We only have 3 rounds left in the regular season, so battle for home field advantage in the semifinals is officially a pressure cooker. We finally have the official locations for the 2026 Pacific 4 Series, and it's a big lineup for North American fans. Everything kicks off with a huge doubleheader in Sacramento at Heart Health Park on April 11th, featuring the USA versus New Zealand and Canada against Australia. From there, the tournament travels to Kansas City's CPKC Stadium on April 17th and Chicago's SeatGeek Stadium on the 24th. Everything wraps up with a historic finale at Sunshine Coast Stadium in Queensland, where the Wallaroos will host the Black Ferns in what is sure to be an electric atmosphere. The Georgia Rugby Union is using rugby to build social resilience in the border village of Nikosi, which is directly impacted by shifting border markers from Russian troops. Project manager Nono Angelou Laze is leading the effort to establish a team for 500 local children. The goal isn't just to create athletes, but to provide a stable community focus and teach core values to youth living in an incredible, unstable, and vulnerable environment. The criticism of the Welsh Rugby Union continues, and this week it's some very high-profile voices. Entrepreneur Haley Parsons, the founder of Go.Compare, issued a scathing letter to member clubs calling for an immediate ouster of Chair Richard Collier-Keywood over a perceived toxic culture and lack of transparency. This frustration was shared by legendary captain Alan Wynne-Jones during the Wales versus France coverage of the Men's Six Nations. Jones highlighted the growing gulf between the union and its fans, questioning the math behind building a new center of excellence, while men's professional teams like the Ospreys face an uncertain future. Spain is making some big moves under new head coach Rezi Sun as they mobilize 5 different national teams. The senior Las Leones squad is currently in a 40-player training camp in Bonaba, while the under-20s and under-18s are preparing for the Summer World Cup and the Six Nations Festival, respectively. On top of the busy training schedule, the Federation just announced a 3-season sponsorship deal with Ambar Beer. This partnership comes at a perfect time as Spanish rugby prepares for a massive run on the international stage across all age grades. The Nigeria Rugby Football Federation has unveiled a very ambitious 2026 calendar that puts women's rugby front and center. They are officially bidding to host the Africa Cup Women's Sevens regional qualifier in Lagos, or Ogun, to get back on the continental rankings. They are also looking at a path to elite competition through the Rugby Africa Women's Cup in Tunisia. Domestically, they are expanding their footprint with a new national sevens circuit across 4 states and a 6-zone 15s league that will culminate in a national final in Abuja. South Africa is taking a proactive approach to the coaching gender gap with their new Women's Coaching Transitioning Workshop. This is part of their Destination 2027 strategy and features 24 elite female coaches, including 9 former women Bach players. The 5-day performance program at Delsma Sports Farm is a formal prerequisite for the World Rugby Level 3 course. It's all part of a strategic target to have at least 10 Level 3 accredited female coaches leading the way by year 2027. World Rugby has released the match official appointments for the upcoming Women's Six Nations and Pacific 4 series, and there's a huge milestone on the horizon. South Africa's Amy Barrett-Theron is set to referee her 50th test match when she takes the whistle for the opener between France and Italy. It is a historic moment for one of the game's most respected officials, and she leads a talented group of both veterans and rising stars who will be overseeing the elite international calendar this spring. Alice Sopper is challenging the status quo in New Zealand media, arguing that local reporting is failing the growing fan base. Even though statistics show women covered 44% of rugby stories during the last World Cup, Sopper claims the analysis lacks the depth and storytelling found in men's sport. She points out that the domestic audience has tripled in size since 2022, but the media coverage hasn't evolved to meet the demand. She is calling for more insightful analysis that actually reflects the value and growth of the women's game. Now let's look at domestic and club news. We'll start with the Americas. The professional era in the United States continues to evolve as the Women's Elite Rugby announces a May 2nd kickoff for their second season. All 6 founding teams are returning, including the reigning champion Denver Onyx. A major change this year is the shift to a May start date, which is designed to better align with the international calendar. In USA Club, the scoreboards were absolutely lit up this weekend in the Gulf Coast region. Charleston made a massive statement with a 109-point victory, while Bark delivered a clinical 99-0 shutout. Life University and Tampa are still the gold standard for consistency, maintaining their undefeated streaks at the top of their divisions. Over in the Pacific, the West Coast Marines are looking like the team to beat after 4 rounds of undefeated play, while Fullerton made a huge leap in the SoCal standings, climbing all the way from bottom to 7th place. North of the border, round 8 of the BC Premier featured some heavy-hitting results. The Castaway Wanderers secured a dominant 85-7 win over Seattle to keep the pressure on the league leaders. Mariloma solidified their #1 ranking by taking down West Shore 34-21, which is an incredible achievement for a side that only recently moved up from Division 1. Rounding out the BC action, Burnaby Lake showed their grit by traveling to Jericho Beach Park and coming away with a hard-fought 19-10 win over the UBCOB Ravens. Now for the Europe update. In Spain, El Salvador is operating like a well-oiled machine in the Iberdrola. They moved to an 11 wins from 11 matches after a massive 79-0 shutout against Sant Cugat, bringing their season point difference to a staggering plus 439. Getxo is still hot on their heels in second place after beating Krat Kunraya, while Mahadahonda locked down third with a road win in Seville. The biggest celebration of the weekend happened at the bottom of the table, where Pozuelo finally climbed out of the cellar with a thrilling 23-20 win. Round 11 of the PWR was defined by some of the best finishes we've seen all season. Saracens pulled off an unbelievable second-half recovery to beat the Bristol Bears by 3 points, thanks to a clutch last-minute penalty from Zoe Harrison. Gloucester Hartbury managed to keep their perfect season alive with a professional win over the Harlequins, and the Exeter Chiefs dealt with a total deluge at Sandy Park to secure a bonus point win against Loughborough. On a personal note, I had the absolute honor of being behind the mic for PWR Round 11 as an announcer, along with Julia Schell for the clash between the Ealing Trailfinders and Sale Sharks. It was a whirlwind journey from Austin to London, and the atmosphere at Vallis Way was just electric as Sale secured their second win of the season. I managed to push through the jet lag to see some sights like the Tower Bridge and the London Ghost Bus before heading back to Texas soil. I'm still soaking in the memories of a truly incredible whirlwind weekend. Series A Elite is officially entering its final rush as we hit round 11. Valsugana remains perfect at the top with 54 points, and with only 3 rounds left in the regular season, the top 4 teams have effectively separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Villorba, Colorno, and Benetton are all sitting comfortably in playoff positions with a massive 14-point cushion over their nearest rivals. This leaves the bottom 4 teams in a desperate scramble for survival as they try to avoid relegation in the closing weeks of the season. In Ireland, round 14 of the Nigeria AIL saw some of the most lopsided scores of the year. Railway Union dominated Ballincog 82-7, while UL Bohemian delivered an 89-0 performance against Cook. Old Belvedere opened the weekend with a tight Friday night win over Toulouse, thanks to a brace from Emily Bryan, and Blackrock stayed in peak form with a convincing 44-7 display against Wicklow. With the playoffs approaching, the top sides are clearly shifting into another gear to ensure they are peaking at the right time. Now in Africa and Asia, Society Generale Valley officially clinched the Nanfung Group Airside Premiership League title. They secured the league trophy with a week to spare after a massive 100-0 shutout against Causeway Sandy Bay. While they have the regular season silverware in the bag, the focus now shifts to the Grand Championship knockout phase. The top 4 teams will battle through the semifinals, all leading up to the season's ultimate finale, which is scheduled for March 14th. In Uganda, the Black Pearls are still the team to beat after round 2 of the Premiership. They solidified their spot at the top of the standings with a 36-11 win over the Panthers, while the Thunderbirds and Avengers also picked up big wins on the road. Interestingly, despite being perfect on the field, the Black Pearls are currently sitting on 9 points due to a 4-point deduction from the Federation. We haven't seen an official explanation for the penalty yet, but it adds a layer of drama to their title defense as the season progresses. South Africa's Pick and Pay Women's Super League 1 kicked off its 2026 season with record-breaking fireworks. The Isuzu Bulls Daisies are the defending champions, and they had a big game against Border Ladies, beating them 100-0, scoring 16 tries in their biggest win ever over their rivals. The EP Queens provided the upset of the weekend by traveling to Alberton and knocking off the Golden Lions 32-12. DHL Western Province and Sanlam Boland Dames also started their campaigns with bonus point wins. That does it for us. As always, there's more news on our site at yscrugby.com. Never miss an episode of Women's Rugby Rundown by listening to podcasts anywhere you listen to them too.